Mr. Corbin, give me like a just quick synopsis of like who you are, what you do, like what your sort of title, role is, age, where you're from.
Great question. Thank you for not introducing me as Mr. Rogers, as I'm almost 34 years old and I'm getting a little bit sick of that at this point. Um, Man, I'm from Minnesota. I live in Kansas City currently. I'm helping coach setters in a multitude of roles, DM setters, inbound setters, organic, outbound, things of that nature, in the setter to closer community specifically. And I'm looking to be um, just more of a like director, hands-on coach position for anyone who's looking for it. Not necessarily knowing what that is right now, but coaching has been a big affinity of mine for a long time, and helping people find what they're passionate about, what fuels them. And so that's what I'm here to do. How it happens, not really sure. Not necessarily rejecting any avenues that might come from.
Cool. Cool. Love it. So a coach in the space specific to setters right now, just setter to closer. It's like the main sort of area of focus for you.
Correct. And I've been a DM setter, an inbound setter, an outbound setter, a closer, and a team lead for three offers now in the last 2.5 years.
Okay. Cool. So bring us back, rewind the clocks to like 2.5 years ago. What was going on in your life? And like, what was kind of the push that made you kind of look into this industry in the first place?
Oh man. I was in security where I was installing like high-end security network camera systems for government entities, private warehouses, things of that nature. And over time, it felt cool because you made a bunch of money and you got to like leave a project at the door. Like you didn't have to take work home with you. Like you got to do one of these when you were done with work. Like you could step away from it. It was done. You didn't have to go back. It was good. And then it just felt like you were getting a paycheck to do something for someone. And then there's just no communication after that. And that like started to feel really weird because I was spending all these just countless hours in these places with these random people who were just happy that I was there because I was good at providing a service that they wanted. So I was like, well, how can I like actually help people with what they want, not just by providing a service? And so through a lot of my life, like growing up in foster care, traveling the country, installing all these security systems and stuff, I met a ton of people. A ton of those people are like, dude, you're really good at communicating with people. Have you ever tried sales? It's like, no, I don't want to be a shitty, sleazy, scummy sales rep. No way. Because I had this preconceived notion that's like 1984, you're showing up at my car lot and you're not leaving without a damn car. So went home to Minnesota for Christmas break. I threw my back out at work and I got in trouble with my boss because I couldn't help him load up his work truck after work because I like threw out my back. He sent me a nasty text on the 21st of December. Was like, I don't know that we're going to continue working going into next year. You didn't display very strong leadership capabilities by not helping me. I was like, damn, I've worked like 60 hours a week for you for 2.5 years and I've done everything that you've needed me to do, and I couldn't help you do one thing one time, so I get this message. So then insert the classic, sit in fiance's parents' basement over Christmas. Can't sleep, not sure if I have a job when I get back home. Kind of sick of doing what I've been doing up until this point. The fucking Cole Gordon ad. Sorry for swearing. The Cole Gordon ad, dude. Do you want to make 10K from home? Like, do you want to work remote? Do you want to have freedom in your life? Do you want to actually choose what you want to do and not work a 9 to 5 and listen to someone who doesn't know what they're doing? Like, where's this been my whole life, dude? What are we talking about? Like, yeah. So 5 in the morning, clicked on that link, set up a setting call with one of the setters who we know very well. His name is Jake Ferry. And from that point on, my life completely changed. I'm actually helping people with what they want, not because they're paying me to provide them a service. And I get to do that from home, wearing a flannel, not with steel toes and a hard hat.
Right on. That's awesome, man. What like how long did it take you to get into your first role from when you got into Cole Gordon's program?
2 months. 2 months to the day. I got an offer letter on March 3rd of 2023, and I started Remote Closing Academy on January 3rd of 2023.
Got it. And now, like all that you know now, leading up to this point, all the different trainings and coachings and programs and everything you've done, like, would you say there's like a faster way to do that in like less than 2 months now?
Oh my God. Dude, I got an offer in less than a week of being in Setter to Closer. Like, let that sink in real quick. 2.5 years ago, with no skills, no idea what I was doing, put in the work and got a really good offer in 2 months. Through learning and executing at different levels and failing and learning from mistakes and all these different things, joining Setter to Closer and having that experience and demonstrating that inside of Setter to Closer to the coaches, through the mock calls, through the networking, through everything, I got another offer in less than a week, like accepted, like group interview done, one-on-one done, less than a week.
Nice.
That's
What was
great.
and then let's step back again. When you first got into the industry, like what was some stuff that you didn't know that you now know today?
I didn't know how any of it worked, to be quite honest with you. I thought if you were in sales that you were just trying to call someone, like pitch them what you did, why it's so much better than everybody else's, rah, rah, you should listen to me because I know what I'm talking about. But now I know and I understand like people are actually looking for something, whether it's trust in a product, in a person, in an organization. Like people actually want things. That's a much more exciting conversation to have. And so I've learned how to identify the type of people that I'm speaking to and acting accordingly instead of just trying to overpitch, oversell, overdeliver every single thing because I feel like I have to.
Got it. What was like your first ever offer that you got onto in the space?
Man. So funny thing about being exceptional with interviews, if I were to do my own horn, is I landed like a sales director position. And it
Your
was
first role ever was sales director?
yeah. Yeah, so it was an info product brand in recruiting. We had a brand visionary that excelled at C-suite positions and recruiting for those specifically. So the team that I got hired on to be their outbound director for was a team of 9 very talented people that excelled at growing brands from scratch by partnering with brand visionaries and implementing VSLs, scripts, funnels, all these other things. So I had Apollo.io and about 10,000 credits to cold reach out to business owners, asking if I could help recruit or provide value in recruiting their next C-suite position. And so we had a school community that we built out. I was setting, I was closing, I was doing fulfillment, I was doing cold outreach, I was doing data analytics. I was like 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, 7 months straight. That was
Got
my
it.
first.
So you did
Holy
that
crap.
for just 7 months.
I lasted 7 months.
Why do you say lasted? I mean, it's a
Yeah.
lot of, it sounds like a lot of stuff, but like,
Yeah, dude, man, that's the first time I gave up on myself. That was really hard. They kept bringing in like other sales managers and other people that they had trained to compete with me. I was on a performance improvement plan every 2 weeks for the last like 5 months. And I beat everybody up until the very end. I was like, dude, I'm like crying. Like, what am I doing right now? Like, this is so absurdly stressful. Like, I'm like losing sight of everything in my life because this is all I'm focused on because I wanted nothing but to like be good at it and to not be the reason that it didn't work.
do you think that was just because the like amount of different hats that you had to wear in that position, or was it more so like, I don't know, you're just kind of figuring everything out like by yourself? Like if you're in charge, you don't have anyone sort of investing into you in the way that you would if you were like a setter learning from like a setter manager or something like that.
Exactly. That it's one thing to have an abundance of resources in a sense of here's your user's guide. It's a whole nother thing when someone is the author of the user's guide, has been through it so many times that it's almost like, I don't know that I want to have to explain this again because I've done this so many times. It's like tying your shoe. So having coaches, having mentors, having one-on-one, like actual concise, like tailored education specific to what's going on right now has been the biggest needle moving thing for me. And if I had that 2.5 years ago, I would still be an outbound director because I would have been able to make that work. But I did not have the structure of support. I had way too many hats, and I didn't even know what to wear with the damn hat. I just threw it on and hoped for the best. But now I know to specifically use each one of those hats because I've been trained by the coaches and setter closer how to do that.
So now you'd say that like you're more interested in just finding like one lane, wearing one hat, and doing that one thing really well.
100%, dude. Like it's the old Amish, right? Don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing. If you have 9 things, how are you gonna 1/9 ass 9 things? Like that just doesn't work. I can't do setting, clothing, fulfillment, data analytics, the school group, reading on my own time. Like I only have so much time. But if I had to focus on one thing specifically.
So you'd recommend someone like brand new stepping into the industry to probably just focus on one thing and not take like a hybrid role kind of deal.
It's to the point if I had a time machine, I would jump in that and tell myself that.
Okay.
That would be what I would shout from the rooftop to anybody new wanting to get into this space. It's like, dude, if you have concise training on the one thing that you need to be exceptional at, that is going to take you the farthest.
Plus, it sounds like too, you were taking a job there, doing everything right, and you were taking a job to earn instead of learn, right? And if you, as a beginner, hopping into a new role, you might want to take a pay cut if it means going to like the best team ever. You know, like Matei has that story in our group talking about when he got hired with Cole's team, how like he got offers for a closing role at like 15K a month, but Cole told him like, hey, you're gonna be starting as a setter and you're gonna have to work 3 times, 4 times as hard as you would a closer, but you're gonna grow and learn more than like anyone. You're gonna grow and learn more here than like anywhere else in sales. And then he took that job, right? And it's just like you're taking that job to learn, and that's kind of the focus on growth. Sounds like it's kind of the transition you made.
It's kind of like, you know, if you go to war without your guns and ammo, you're screwed, you know? Like you need to go there with like learning, growth, and development first before you step into the war zone so you can have your guns and ammo. So it's kind of like going to war without those things if you don't have those trainings beforehand.
Exactly. And why do you think SEAL Team 6 and Delta Force and the Rangers and all those guys are so much more exceptional? Because they have dedicated training specific to the job that they need to do. Let alone they can handle a lot of things, but they didn't just go through basic training, got the user's manual, did the Q course, got their guns and ammo, and just went out. Right? They went through thousands and thousands and thousands of repetitions of the same most important like activities that they could do, and that's why they're the best.
So you'd also say then that this space isn't like something where it's similar to, but not the same thing as like brain surgery. Like you couldn't just like, okay, I'm here to be a brain surgeon today. Like who are we operating on? Like it's something that you'd say that you'd like highly recommend, or like how strongly would you recommend to get like sales training or an education before jumping into the space?
As strongly as I possibly could. I mean, you can't see what's on fire if you're in one of the rooms of the building that's on fire. And so if you had someone in a helicopter hovering above the building with a walkie-talkie that could help you, it's a pretty valuable thing. And so if you're in a building and you want to be able to get out of it, you should probably have someone helping you that's not in the building and has made it out themselves. So wherever that comes from, whatever form or fashion, like that mitigates so many falling on your face, stubbing your toes, like scratches and bruises and like sleepless nights and really hard conversations. It's like, dude, you have someone who's been through it before so many times. It's like they always say, we're at the cliff. Is the cliff going to shrink when you go home and think about it for 5 days? No, dude, you're going to come back like, damn, the cliff is the same size. But if someone's there, it's like, yep, hey, $5, I'll jump with you. I've done this 10,000 times. You're like, oh, cool, yeah, let's jump. Like those are two totally different things. So yeah, having one-on-one, even just the support of coaches and people who have been through it at the level that you see yourself getting to, it's an invaluable thing.
And so walk us through what happened after that in this story from there.
Man.
So you lasted and where were you at?
And I texted the new sales lead that they had brought in. I'm not going to name drop, but I was a very heartfelt apology. Like, I can't do this. This is too hard for me. That was my low point. From there, because of the networking and the friends and the relationships I had built in the community that I had joined, I just made a handful of phone calls. It's like, hey, how are things going on your offer? What's going on? And they're like, oh, hey, we're hiring a setter right now. Do you want me to connect you with the owner? Yeah, right now. So got in a three-way text with the owner that's doing something in healthcare that helps neuropathy patients and helps businesses bring in those neuropathy patients and had the equipment to like treat and help them. So I got brought on as a setter. I didn't have to apply anywhere. I just got on a phone call from a three-way group text from calling a buddy of mine who was in the same space, who had a lot of respect for me because we got on an offer at the same time. And I offered to do a mock call on that first call with that business owner just to prove that I knew what I was doing. And he gave me the
Nice.
job on the spot.
So you'd say then that like community and networking in this space with like people that are already doing some like doing this kind of thing is like kind of like invaluable because you can just land jobs really easily from
So
building a network.
to speak candidly, I have not had to fill out an application in the last 2 years to get a job. I have been able to call people that are in my phone and get put in contact with other people that were in their phone and have a very good conversation and get offered a position where I can make an impact because I invested in myself and I got along with other people who also invested in themselves. And that's why we're here.
Do you have like a sort of attitude shift or mindset that you could give people in approaching relationships in this space?
I do. That's a really hard question to answer. Everything is what you make it. Like, what I mean by that, it's like, dude, if you're stressed out in your life and things suck and things aren't going well and you show up to work and you have a bad attitude and you're calling people and they're not answering and you're getting the door kicked in and like everything sucks. Well, like, yeah, of course that sucks, but like if you're going to bed early, you're waking up early and you're reading the right things, you're surrounding yourself with the right people, you're taking the right actions, like you're gonna get through it. And I think some people from the outside see that as such a long time to accomplish that it's almost not worth it because it's so new to them and they're like, oh, it's gonna be so stressful, I'm so new, I'm gonna have the sleepless nights, I'm gonna have these hard conversations. Like both are true. You just have to get through it. And it doesn't matter what it is, dude. Like if you're a pro athlete, you probably played in high school where you had people on the other team trying to injure you because they were jealous of what you had. You had to get through that. To the same token you do here, right? You got to get through some things. And having a coach, having structure, having support, having education that's specialized and catered to that specifically is going to be the biggest thing that you can get help with. But both are true. Like things can be kind of bad, and that's okay. They can get better. You just have to you have to do it. You have to take action. You have to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
You have to make the right based on the information that you have.
How important would you say then is like reputation in this space? Does it matter at all, or is it something that can impact you with everything?
Reputation might be inarguably the biggest thing. If you're working on, like, if I would have called my buddy who put me in contact with that business owner, like if I didn't build that relationship, work really hard, do the mock call, go through the whole song and dance, like they would have, if I was just cocking off on Facebook, if I was not showing up to work, if like other business owners, other setters, other people had a bad image of me, they would never have introduced me to anybody. And I would have had to go through interview process after interview process after interview process. And I might have never gotten a chance because I put a bad taste in the mouth of a leader in some capacity, and that washed down the river to other people. And as I'm applying, that came back to bite me. So yeah, dude, your reputation is everything. Other people get to hear about what you do, see what you do. Like it's not that big of a space.
Yeah, and I see how you even your reputation inside the group, man. Inside our group, you're like #1 on the leaderboard past 30 days, like most engaged, you're like helping everyone out, and you're just like a value, like a resource to the community for anyone that's new hopping in there. They see, oh, Corbin just made a new post, and Corbin just, he's, giving feedback over here. He's hopping on calls over here, and so I mean that's definitely unique. You don't see that very often.
And I appreciate you saying that. But think about Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds is one of the greatest baseball players of all time and isn't in the Hall of Fame. Why? Because he took steroids. And so what is his reputation? That he's one of the greatest baseball players of all time, or that he took steroids?
He took steroids.
Right. I might not be Barry Bonds, but I also didn't take steroids. You see what I mean? So, yeah, dude, your reputation is literally everything. It's who you are, and it's who other people perceive you to be. And so if you perceive me to be a jackwagon, probably not going to get an interview, probably not going to have as many opportunities. But if I work really well with others and I'm who I am and I try my best and I learn from my mistakes and other people see that, I'm going to have so many opportunities I don't know what to do with. That's kind of what's happening right now.
Got it. So that second role you were in, how long were you there?
8 months. Not, yeah, 8 or 9 months.
Okay. And what did you do there? You were just like full-time setting there?
So I joined on as a setter. 2.5 months in, I got to be in a closing position. That was very bittersweet because they took the current closer and made him a setter. So they inversed our roles because of performance. So I don't know, that felt really goofy, but I closed 5 of my first 8, 4 of my first 5. All 4 were PIFs. And I had a 41% close rate my first 2 months. And I felt really good. From there, it was just over 30, but the total volume wasn't where it needed to be relative to how other things were working. Not a throwing rocks from a glass house type of guy, but the business owner was in the VSL and was in fulfillment and did everything hands-on. So he had like an 80% closing rate. And he held me and another closer to that, like a similar standard, and was immune to feedback on that's not how that works when you're a closer versus when you're the business owner. And there's a lot of things that I wasn't aware of before that point, and what a strong leader looks like. And so that led to a 30-minute time audit doc of everything that I did for a day so he could see what was going on. And I put in the doc on a Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. First time getting out of my desk, LOL. It was more of like a funny thing for me, like, hey, I worked really hard that day. And he looked at that doc and thought I was being condescending, and he called me and fired me at 8 a.m. in the morning for just my own time audit doc.
What were you doing, like 2 hours a day?
That was about an hour and a half. No, dude, I was at least 10 hours a day because I was setting and closing. They had gotten rid of the other setter for performance, and the other closer had never set before. So he was getting all the best leads. So I was self-setting for me and another closer and outperforming that closer. But because I had an attitude in my audit doc of my time that was supposed to be for me only, I got labeled as a bad culture fit and got let go.
I could see that. Just kidding.
At the time, I couldn't really understand, and I took it a bit personally and didn't understand why. But now at the time, I was like, if you're going to treat me that way, that's okay.
So what did you do next?
Great question. I called literally the same person that I called the first time. And I met you in the same way. I 3-way got a group text with my guy, Jordan Phillips, and with Matt Moore. Jordan's like, hey, Corbin, let me introduce you to Matt. He's a pretty cool guy. He's the sales director on this Off-Grid Springs Rejuvenation. And I think he'd be a great fit here. Matt, you got time to talk to my buddy Corbin? Pretty sure we talked within the hour. And I'll never forget. Matt Moore's like, do you want to be a setter? Do you want to be a closer? And I was like, I want to be a closer, but I feel like I should maybe be a setter first. And he's like, are you a samurai with a black belt? I was like, wait, what? And he's like, well, the closers on our team are all samurais with a black belt. And so unless you're a samurai with a black belt, you should probably be a setter. And I was like, damn, I don't have a black belt and I'm not a samurai. I might have the helmet. I might have the sword, but I'm not. And he's like, okay, well, I'm between hiring you and my other guy, Jimmy. How do you feel about Jimmy? And I was like, dude, you have to hire Jimmy. He invested in himself just like I did. We've been friends for the last 1.5 years. Dude, I would hire that guy. And I got the job. Like within an hour of that, both me and Jimmy got hired.
Yeah.
If I was my authentic self, I was like, you know what? I know what I'm about. I know what I'm not. I know, like, I have a lot more aptitude to what is going on in the high ticket space. And man, haven't turned my back ever since then with Matt. Damn, it's almost been a year now.
It's funny. Matt, what were you looking for when you asked him that question? Like, what do you think about Jimmy? Like, were you hoping he was gonna bad talk him or something like that?
Yeah, I was looking to see like his character with that question on if he was going to be like, oh, like Jimmy sucks, you should totally hire me. Like, I was trying to see like how he would respond to that to kind of get a deeper understanding of his character there. He was like, oh, Jimmy's great. I love him. Like, he's always been really good. Like, just like let me know what the next steps would be if you want to bring me on. And I was like, right on.
There you go,
And so
Corbin.
from there, man, went through the biggest self-improvement year of my entire life. And that has landed me here in this conversation.
What things would you say like you've grown and developed in over the last year?
How much time do we have? Uh, kidding. Um, well, first, I think it's important to understand that the muscles that are in here are so much stronger than any muscles that you can have outside. And that you can't always learn things if you're not ready to learn them. And unfortunately, you sometimes have to go through the crap yourself to get to a position to where someone can give you the knowledge and the understanding that you need. And so the things that have changed for me have been all like mindset things and how I respond to things, how I don't take things personally anymore, how I'm able to see the bigger picture, how I'm able to determine what's on other people's mind by what they're saying. I'm able to read situations a lot more strongly. I don't know, like there's so many different situations I process in such a better way. And it's hard to elaborate. It really is. It's such a different, I feel like a different person, like a better person.
Can you walk through that year a little bit more for like, because I think a lot of people, including myself, honestly, it's like we have these moments of just like growth and learning, and when you're not in that place, you're stagnant, and it just kind of sucks. So, like, you was it just a matter of you being in that environment that allowed you to grow? Right? And you're just around people who knew more than you, or like what contributed towards like that year of growth for you?
I couldn't have said it better myself. It was the people that I was around. Because if, man, I'm just thinking back to all of the times that I was in a workplace where I wish I had the leaders that I have now. Like I'm thankful that I didn't because now I do. But like that is such an impactful thing to like have the understanding from someone who's done it before and like show you the way. So in that year, dude, if I went to a year from now, I had just gotten off like my second offer for being condescending in the time audit doc. I had been kind of successful, kind of not quite where I wanted to be, like 8K a month, 9K a month. And I was like, dude, am I cut out for this? I've been on two offers. I've closed. I've tried to be a director. I've been let go. I gave up on myself. I've got like, I don't know, $1,000 left in my account. Like, what am I going to do? So that's where I started. And then when I had the conversation with Matt Moore after the freeway text and, trying to get back on the horse, because I was like, well, I got to do something. And when I got that opportunity, one of the first meetings ever that I had after doing pretty well, I had like 3 set closes my first week. Matt asked me, hey, Corbin, can I see your tracker? And I'm like riding my high horse. I got a couple sets closed my first week. Like I'm ramping up. My show rate's good. Like I'm on top of the world right now. Like I finally feel great. And it's like, oh, I've just been using this. And I sent him a Google Doc spreadsheet, caveman style. And that was my tracker. He's like, dude, we have a tracker. You're not using your freaking tracker? I was like, yeah, I am. It's right here. And I tried to like laugh and be funny and be Corbin about the situation. That was not okay. But every other time I was Corbin and funny and goofy and relatable and personable in the past, like I wouldn't get the same feedback. And that's like, dude, if I was Cole Gordon right now, I would fire you. Like, you should be fired right now. I almost shit my pants in a one-on-one in the afternoon with Matt. I was like, oh my God, are you, what? Me? Fired? No way. And the conversation that I had with my fiance right after the work day that day, she's like, well, yeah, you have to do what's asked of you at work. And that like reframed so hard of like being told what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And he's like, dude, I don't care how many sets of clothes you have, how good you are at your job. If you're not going to do what is asked of you, I'm not going to have you here. It's like, damn, how can I get more of that?
Mm.
So every single one-on-one after that is like, hey, what is the most important thing that we can be discussing today? And that came with a lot of very difficult conversations. Like, hey, Corbin, stop being so reactive to things. Just because someone says something doesn't mean you have to say something back. Like, hey, Corbin, stop taking shit so personal. It's not a big deal. It's okay. And like handling chaos. Like you said, specializing in wearing one hat and being the best at that hat is the way to go. But how do you know which hat suits you the best if you haven't tried a bunch on? And if you only tried it on for a minute, how do you really know? And so being forced to wearing all these different hats and deal with it and learn on my own until I'm ready to learn what I need to know next has been the most impactful part of my life up until this point. And I'm almost 34. That didn't start for me until I was 33, guys and girls. Anybody who's listening, like I started when I was 33 actually figuring shit out because I had someone who was willing to tell me what I needed to hear. And that just so happened to be someone who's actually done all of these things before at such a high level that you can't ignore it. So now I'm not afraid to have uncomfortable conversations with other people because it's not uncomfortable for me anymore because I've had it enough times now. And that's what I go back to the mindset thing. You said, like, what's the biggest change that's happened? Dude, it's all up here. It's your perception of things and how you handle things when other things happen. I know that's super vague, but it's real.
What would you, if there was like a piece of advice that you could give to somebody that was thinking about jumping into the high ticket space, like what would your three most actionable steps of advice be to get into the space easy, quick, and with running into as little roadblocks as possible?
Fantastic question. Well, it starts with like taking action, like doing something. Like, are you really going to have another conversation where you're like venting negative energy to someone else about what is affecting you and you only? Like once you have that realization, like you could be doing way better things with a way better group of people and have a lot of fun doing it. You could do it from home. You could make way more money. Like, dude, I would join Setter to Closer. And why that is because you can graduate with a certification that unlocks business owners seeing you as an extremely valuable asset to their company in a sales capacity. And you might get an offer in the first 2 weeks. Might even be earlier than that. I think it's like 21 hours total content. You have 10 or 12 of the best coaches in the space that have all been through everything on every type of offer that you could imagine. And so if you join the community, you're going to see yourself with every other person standing in front of you that's at the bottom of the cliff that you're staring over. You're like, oh shit, should I jump? And everyone's down there having a great time, just waving back. Like, yeah, dude, water's nice. Come on down. And that's when it really starts. And so if you have 2 weeks to really focus and have direct attention on something that you think can really better your life, you can do it from home on your own time. Like, dude, join Setter to Closer. Meet some of the coaches, join some of the calls, go through the community, get certified. And from there, like, that's when it really starts. Like, that's when the fun actually starts. Like, you have to do it. You have to take action. You have to, like, jump off the cliff. And there are a lot of pretty cool people in the water.
So you'd say then that, like, the fastest, easiest way would just be to, like, jump into Closer. What would be, like, if you describe the hardest way to get into this space, like, what would that look like?
What would the hardest way look like? Dang. Well, if I didn't know anything, and I was trying to get into the high ticket sales space, I wouldn't even know where to start. Like, are you joining Facebook groups? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on Instagram? Are you on Indeed? Are you like cold calling businesses? Are you filling out applications? Like, what are you doing after you fill out the application? Like, how are you getting an interview? How are you displaying your lack of experience on that interview? Did you even get an interview? Like, how did you know where to go? Like, I, that's like not having a flashlight in Hollister. Like, what are we doing? Can't see. Yeah, no, I wouldn't know. Like, that's such a hard question to answer. Like, if I was myself 3 years ago and wanted to get a job as a sales rep and had never really been in sales before, like, what do you do? I don't know. Hands
So
up
it
on like
probably looked like countless hours of like YouTube videos, countless hours of Google
your
searches.
ChatGPT conversations with yourself, like
Yeah.
the classics. Yeah, that's a classic. Now something and put a puzzle together that you don't even have all the pieces for.
What would you like over your like, career of being in the high ticket space? Like, what was your highest paid month so far?
$12,873.
Your memory
Well,
is like kind
definitely.
of like disturbing. I'm
That's
like,
my
how do you
biggest. It's
remember like
my
all
biggest
these dates and
paycheck, dude.
stuff?
What do you mean? Of course I remember that. $12,873.
Nice, nice. Is that setting or closing?
That was setting.
Nice,
Oh, okay. Which offer was that?
That was with Springs.
nice, nice.
That was from a DM inbound setting role, and I collected $243,000 in cash 1 month myself from a role that Matt put me in that I was only ready for at a certain time after I had grown to a certain point. I was willing to take action and go through what was necessary to become who I am now. I
I
could,
remember that conversation too, where you were like, "Hey, like I really want to grow. I'm really interested in getting to like that next level." And I was like, "Are you open to some really harsh feedback?" And you were like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, then I'm gonna put you in the hardest role imaginable if you want to grow." I was like, "You ready for this?" And you were like, "Yeah." And like you didn't know what was coming your way. You got hit like a
nope.
train with it. You were like, "What is all this?" Like drinking from a fire hose for like the first like 2 weeks. You were a mess, like trying to get on top of that horse of chaos, and then after that, it was like it really like, watching you step into that was really impressive because like you totally hit your stride and your first full month of doing that, which was I think it was January, like you just like knocked it out of the park.
February too. Thank you.
Yeah, February you knocked it out of the park too.
But
Yes,
that's
yes.
the thing. Like, dude, 3 years ago, you wouldn't have even be able to have any of these conversations with me because I'd be so set in my own way, working a 9 to 5, like just cool, complacent. I have my bills paid. I can go golfing on the weekends. Like, nah. Like, dude, I'm almost 34 and I haven't bought a house yet. Why? Because I'm so close to saving up for the house that I actually want, not the house that I can settle for. Like, why am I coaching right now? Because I'm helping other people with what they are actually passionate about. That's the most battery recharging thing of all time. But none of those things would have happened if I wouldn't have gone to the cliff, seen the people wave at me from the water, and done one of these. You know, like I
It's
jumped.
not
I jumped. Like things are good. It sucked on the way down. My stomach did the whole song and dance. I was like, oh my God, what is going on? Am I going to die right now? Like, and then I landed and I was like, oh, it's kind of refreshing. The water's nice.
And it's not like that jump has got to be like a 1,000-foot jump off an airplane or something like that. Like if you just dedicate an hour a day for like a month, like most people don't dedicate any time in their life towards learning a new skill set, let alone a skill set that's going to pay them dividends. So like an hour a day, like as little as that, which I think anyone can do within 30 days, man, it's like you're going to be a different person in that skill set. You're going to be so much further along. Granted for you, I mean, you got set up in like what, 2 months, and that was with your other job that you were balancing with it, right?
There's a caveat to that I should have added.
Okay,
They had to do 4 hours of mock calls every night, 5 days a week after working 10 hours in construction in order to get past the pipeline interview to get into the place where I could have interviews. So the 2 months was me putting 4 hours extra in 5 days a week. Instead of to closer, it took me 21 hours. Got my certification, got an offer within the week. Those are two totally different paths.
Hmm. That's interesting. That's actually very interesting.
Like,
'Cause
dude, I would
like
wake up
you,
at 5 a.m. I would get to my job by 6:30. I would get home at about 5:30 at night, and there were mock call hours at 6, 8, and 10.
yeah, you legitimately took on the path of like your 5 to 9, your entrepreneur hustle after
Dude, I got
hours.
sick of it. I got so sick of it. I just channeled the Sith Lord energy and was like, no, I am going to work myself out of this. I'm so sick of just neglecting everything that I want to do.
Were you in a relationship at that time?
Mhm.
What did you say to her?
I had $300 in my bank account at that time, and I didn't have a job, and I invested in Setter to Closer, or RCA. And so what did I do? I went and drove and delivered groceries for Instacart for a couple weeks to make ends meet while I was working construction and doing mock calls and doing trainings and group calls and one-on-ones and all these different things.
Alongside the construction job?
Yeah, dude, it was like 15 hours a day, every day.
Oh my God, dude. You did that for 2 months, or did that kind of
That was
ease
2
off
months
after?
straight so that I could get out of my construction crap and done driving with Instacart and like start doing what I want to do. I have screenshots of me and some of the guys that I'm still friends with in that community. And
Yeah.
like us just in there, the four of us, just mock calling, reviewing stuff, making fun of Corbin because he can't get into the pain, can't chunk down properly. It's a great time. Like we've all been there.
So how was that conversation with your girlfriend or your wife? Like, did you actually have to sit her down and say like, "Oh, this is going to be huge for the next 2 months," or did it just happen?
That was hard. That was hard for a lot of different reasons. So I'll make it like a 30-second overview. When we first started dating, she was in grad school. She's a soil engineer, very smart. She's getting her master's, so she's not working or anything. It's like, well, I would love to support you in what you do. So I helped pay for the bills for the first year and a half while she was finishing up grad school. So that was the point in time where the shoe was on the other foot. It's like, oh crap. I've done, I feel like a really good job helping support you up until this point. Now I'm in a position where I have to ask the same of you. And that's exactly how that conversation went. Like, hey, if I do all of these things that I say that I'm going to do because this is what I want to do, will you support me? And she said yes. We're engaged now. You know how I could afford my engagement ring? Setter to Closer. Making like 8 to 12K a month for the last year and a half. Doing it from home, wearing a flannel. Get made fun of in sales meetings for wearing flannel, but not in podcasts. Just throw on a collared shirt for my meeting, and then when I'm out of the meeting, throw back on the flannel. Like, dude, I get to do what I want when I want because I've gotten to be really good at what I do. And that's not coming from a place of being conceited. That's coming from a place of I've executed at a level that is conducive to me feeling confident. So when I asked my fiance at the time, then girlfriend, like, hey, will you support me if I really give this my all? Absolutely, she will. And she is still.
Right on, man. That's awesome. I guess last question before we jump off here. For like, anybody watching this that, has, sat with us and heard your whole story from like start to the end, if you were to go back and do this all a second time over, what was like, I'd say the thing that would, if you could go back and talk to like past Corbin, what could you tell past Corbin that would help you do this faster and quicker as far as like training right now on the spot? Like, what could you tell past Corbin to like help you do this faster and better and quicker?
I would tell Corbin that this is the same thing that he's heard hundreds of times, and that is fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. And as soon as you get to the bottom of that inch of fear, it is rather comfortable. And so I would tell previous Corbin, like, dude, it's not that scary. It's all in your head. Look at all these people before you who are trying to help you do what it is that you want to do. Like, I can't force you to do it, but want to do it. And that is exactly what is in Setter to Closer. It is a cohort of individuals who are very talented or want to be and are taking actions that are congruent with that being the case.
Right on, man. That's awesome. Well, Ethan and I loved having you on here, Guy. We'll catch you in the next one.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Corbin.